Thank you for joining the Truth Fairy. Our first destination is Project 2025. What is this? This is a 900-page quote-unquote mandate for leadership by the Heritage Foundation and 100 other right-wing organizations. It outlines a radical vision for America that empowers an anti-democratic president and his allies, but not the people. It will create a country for only a few, not for all. Here are some of their action plans to be implemented primarily through the executive branch. Their proposals will destabilize our economy by enabling corporations to cut overtime pay by taking away overtime eligibility for 43 million workers. People will be stuck working long hours without overtime pay. Funding for local job-creating programs will be cut. Data that businesses need to keep our economy going will be manipulated by consolidating certain bureaus like the Bureau of Economic Analysis, the Census Bureau, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics. This will cause local job-creating programs to be cut because they can cut the funding for these. Data that businesses need to keep our economy going will be manipulated by consolidating all of these bureaus. They will weaken child labor laws, so protections for underage workers will go away. Employers could now place youngsters in dangerous working conditions. Their proposals will make it harder for us to make ends meet by restricting access to food assistance programs affecting 40 million people every month. They will eliminate Head Start programs affecting 1 million children. They will limit which disabilities a veteran may qualify for in order to obtain benefits. They will remove safety nets for farmers, where only large-scale farmers will be able to continue growing, thus straining our food supply. Public transportation projects will be eliminated, making it very tough for many to get to work. Their policies would also restrict reproductive rights and access to health care, stop Medicare's ability to negotiate lower prescription policies for life-saving medicines. They will push people towards quote-unquote Medicare Advantage plans and tell seniors that they're offering them more choices. But these plans leave seniors worse off than before and threaten rural hospitals with closure. This will affect 33 million people. The plans will stop medication for abortion by having the FDA criminalize mailing the medications. The EPA would classify abortion medication as containing quote-unquote forever chemicals by making it almost impossible to approve and distribute these medications in the future. Your medical records would be open to anyone who wants to look at them. Where you get your care, with whom, and for what reason would be open to everyone. HIPAA rules will no longer be prosecuted. They will enable discrimination across society by the federal government would no longer use the doctrine of quote-unquote disparate impact. Disparate impact says, does this program cause the adverse effects to all, mostly on the groups affected by race, color, or national origin? Civil rights protections for housing, employment, and education will be gone. Under-resourced communities will find it harder to access Medicaid, Head Start, and other government programs as they plan to undercount these communities and thus have a reason to withhold funds from these organizations. The White House Gender Policy Council will be eliminated. Quote-unquote promoting life would be emphasized and quote family would be narrowly defined. Discrimination against LGBTQ youth in foster care and adoption agencies would be allowed. 368,000 children will be affected as they are subjected to the whims of extreme religious beliefs, leading to problems in their physical and mental and emotional health. Black and brown communities will be at an increased risk from relocation and climate change. Discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity would be enabled based on allowing more religious exemptions and misinterpreting certain Supreme Court precedents where such discrimination would no longer be seen as discrimination prohibited by current civil rights laws. They would undo climate action by eliminating the quote-unquote endangerment finding, requiring the EPA to curb emissions of carbon dioxide, methane, and other heat-trapping pollutants from cars cars, power plants, etc. Eliminating NOAA, so no more critical weather data can be made from scientific research. The North American Atmospheric Association produces reports that affect 1/3 of our entire GDP. Environmental funding would be taken away and directed from mission-based entities and given to state regulators who do not want sustainable climate policies. Offshore oil and natural gas drilling would be allowed on public lands. This section was written by Perry Pendley, who has referred to climate science as quote-unquote junk science. He thinks climate change is like a unicorn. It does not exist. Education will become unaffordable and unwelcoming by cutting or eliminating federal loan programs so only the wealthy can go into college. Undocumented migrants will not have access to in-state tuition. Protections for LGBTQ students in public schools will be eliminated. Attending school can become very dangerous under these circumstances. International business programs could only get funding after agreeing to the ideological beliefs of the non-democratic president. Charter schools can more easily discriminate against LGBTQ students. Only data that the authors of the 2025 project thought was valid would be used, and this would not indicate if there is ongoing discrimination against this group. Federal agencies will be relocated, which will force out more federal experts. In 2019, 77% of the employees in the Bureau of Land Management quit after relocation. Civil servants would have their security clearance deemed null and void, opening the country's most sensitive security matters to the inept and unqualified people. Have you read enough? Project 2025 will shape a country where the top 1% will have all they need. The rest of us will not. Do not let Project 2025, that is the Republican agenda, be the face of our next government. If you love freedom, this is not it. This is freedom for only a few. In a few days, we will reach our second destination. We will look at the movement that is supporting Project 2025. Stay tuned.